So, what can I do for you today?
Good question. Thanks, Dave. So my name's Cindy. I'm from IPS, which is Individual Placement and Support.
Okay, let me just stop you there. We don't deal with job agencies. We've got our own recruitment processes, so I'm sorry, but don't want to waste your time. We don't like to deal with you sort of people.
That's totally fair, and I completely understand. The good thing is that I'm not an employment provider. We are an employment-focused program, but we are not a job provider. So you're in luck today. So half our guys, well, all of our guys are actually volunteers who are looking for assistance to gain employment. So our participants are all willing and able to seek employment and really wanting to work.
So the people that are in your program, what's wrong with them exactly?
Nothing wrong. We are working with a lot of different centres, and some actually have some mental health interventions that we are assisting them with. But in regards to, I guess, your concern is perhaps disability or what ailments they may have, I can assure you that they are not an impairment to their ability to find employment.
Okay, so how can I help you here today?
That's a very good question, thank you. So basically my role as an IPS specialist is to speak to local businesses, and what we want to do is get to know you. So my aim today is to learn about Dave and the cafe that we're in, and figure out how you hire, what you might be looking for, and how our participants will actually be able to fit with your organization to ensure, I guess, employability skills are met, and that, we're kind of contributing to the wider community organizations. So if you don't mind, Dave, what I'd like to do is come back perhaps next week when it's not so busy, just to have a chat to you about you and your organization, and just see how our participants might be able to fit with you and your organization. Would that be okay?
Okay. Tell you what, 2 o'clock Wednesday, it's pretty quiet, so if you want to come back then, we'll sit down and we'll have a chat together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for your time.
No worries. Thank you.
Dave, hi. Thank you so much for giving me your time today. So as I mentioned previously, I work for IPS. It's a youth-led employment service. And what I'm hoping to do is have a bit of a chat to you about your organization and what you do, and kind of get an idea of who you might be looking for in regards to staff and just a general outlook of you and your organization. Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming in today. Yeah, me and my wife, it's a small family-run business. We've got 6 staff working for us currently. As you can see, this is quite a trendy area, so we do look for people that fit the industry and fit our business. So, yeah, this is a busy time of the year. Thank you for coming back when it's not a lunch break.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we really look for someone who's wanting to make a career out of this industry, who wants to sort of, not just see it as just a day job, but something that they can go into long term.
Oh, that's fantastic. And with your staff, Dave, when you mentioned long term, how long has some of your guys been here?
Well, we've got a couple that have been here one's been here for 5 years now, so he's our lead barista. The rest are all students, and they all work casual, part time. And one of the difficulties I have is availability. So if someone wants to work for us, availability is extremely important.
Fantastic. And are you I think I did read actually, you're open 7 days a week?
Yes, that's correct. 7 days a week.
Fantastic. And with your new potential role, are you looking for a barista or a wait staff or anyone in particular?
Well, we might be looking for someone front of house. We don't really care if they don't have the experience straight up. We're willing to train them. In fact, we prefer to train them. But they've got to be willing to learn, and they've got to be able to be on the ball.
Fantastic. Now, Dave, with that, how many hours would you potentially be looking for this young person?
Initially, we would probably start around 10 to 15 hours a week, but there's always potential to increase that, depending on if the young person's sort of willing to progress their career. Ideally, we might look at training them up to be a head barista and also work back of house.
Perfect. So ideally, you want someone who's kind of a little bit flexible and being an all-rounder.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, and someone who can work under pressure. That's really, really important in this industry.
Fantastic. Now, you did kind of mention just earlier in regards to availability, but you do have some uni students or school students.
Yeah, so...
yeah, what would that kind of look like?
Okay, so with our uni students, most of them, the maximum availability is 2 to 3 days a week.
Great.
but Saturday mornings is super busy and we struggle to get someone to work Saturday mornings.
Great. And Saturday morning start, what would that kind of be?
We open 5:30, but 6 a.m. We're serving customers. It's pretty full on at that time onwards.
Great. And I'm assuming public transport isn't available here at that time.
There is a bus that runs by, but ideally, if they've got their own transport, that would be better.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate that. Now, if I do have someone who kind of fits what you're ideally looking for, would you mind if I brought them back to meet you perhaps early next week, or would you prefer to have a look at some resumes that I could pop by?
If you can get them to come in with a resume, make sure they look the part and they're dressed up, because they've got to be, first impressions count. At the end of the day, if they look like they want it, then I'll give them the time of day. But if they don't look like they want it, then it'll be a short interview.
Of course. Would you mind if I came back with them?
Yes, that'd be fine. But the main thing is that they've got to sort of sell themselves.
Great. Thank you very much. And presentation-wise, is there a particular uniform that you're ideally looking for?
Black pants, white T-shirt. It's fairly simple. As you can see, the rest of the staff out the front here, they're fairly consistent with how they dress. It's a very professional, trendy cafe.
Great. And with the trendiness, I've noticed you have a young lady there with quite a lot of piercings and coloured hair. That's not an aversion for yourself? Is there any?
No, because it fits with the culture of the area.
Great. Perfect. Thank you very much.
No worries at all. Thank you for coming in today. It was good to meet you.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey, how you going?
Good, thanks, Dave. How are you?
I'm all right. What can I do for you today?
I was just in the area, wanting to pass by and see how things were.
Yeah, actually things are going really good. We may even be looking to put someone on in a couple of weeks if you have someone in mind.
That's fantastic. Yes, I actually might. Would you mind if perhaps I brought them by?
Yeah, no, bring them in. Make sure they've got a resume, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Do you have a time perhaps that might work?
2 o'clock on Wednesday, if that suits you.
I reckon it could. Thank you so much. We'll see you then.
Sounds sweet. Excellent.
Awesome, Dave. Thanks so much. We'll see you then.
Thank you. See you then.